Oh, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I help you find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Welcome back to another live stream. We are live across YouTube, X, Facebook, actually not Facebook right now, LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, some other places too, probably. Please let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm going to hit go live on Instagram now. Today we're talking about why you should not quit your job to be a creator yet. This is going to be kind of a spicy take today because I was speaking with a creator recently about this very thing. I won't go into too many details, but they really wanted to quit their job at a future date, and we're trying to strategize for how to actually make that happen. First of all, I applaud anyone for trying to think in advance, trying to plan out in advance of doing such a large thing like that, especially if you whether you're single or you're married, you have a partner or whatever, and there's another income, there's another earner in the household. There's just a lot of things to think about when you quit your job. And obviously this isn't relegated to just being a creator. This is anytime you're deciding to quit your job to do something else. But I think I have a unique perspective here because I've been a creator along with my wife, April, for over a decade. And it is hard. It's very hard being a full-time creator. Our income streams have swung wildly over the last decade. And so I wanted to talk today about what you need to do before you decide to quit your job to be a creator. Because, I mean, let's be real, like being a creator, being an influencer, being self-employed is amazing. It's you have time freedom. There's so many benefits. Your income is uncapped if you work hard. If you work your butt off, like your opportunities are kind of limitless. But there's a lot of things that are challenging about doing this without the kind of safety net of a full-time job. So let me know where you're tuning in from. We've got Lori Lee tuning in from Saskatchewan, Canada. Good to see you here. We've got Kyle's Shamrell, Indiana, KND, Flo, Cheryl. Good to see you here, Cheryl. The Nikita Sachin tuning in on Instagram. We've got Alex Julian. Yakko Facco said, is this about money? So it's about quitting your job to be a creator full time. So if you're not familiar with who I am or what I do, I talk primarily about sponsorships. I'm a sponsorship coach. And so, but I've been a full-time creator for 10 years. And so I'm going to be talking about this a bit today. We've got the In-Between tuning in from Minnesota. Good to see you here. We've got Jason Vaughn, Bharat Apat tuning in from India. We've got Bianca from my team. What's going on, Bianca? We've got One Who Seeks. We've got Fourth Born Child tuning in all the way from the Philippines. We've got Captain Collins tuning in. Good to see you here. We've got Jenny Lou Yoga. Good to see you from New York, Jenny. Haley's Kitchen from San Diego, and Mare from Graves. We've got Kyle's Shamrell tuning in from the Netherlands. Holy cow. Love to see all the diversity of geography here today. Want to give a quick shout out to Lulu, who's the sponsor of today's live stream. Going to be talking about them a bit later in the show. Also, as you know, these live streams is for y'all. I do these every week, and any questions that you have around whether it's today's topic around quitting your job or around sponsorships, negotiations, brand deals, that type of thing is really my wheelhouse. Make sure to drop it in the chat, and I'll make sure to get to it in a bit. So the first thing I wanted to chat about is when it comes to kind of being careful about quitting your job too soon, is that you have to realize that what's working now may not work forever. We learned this the hard way, I would say, which is that when success first comes, for us, it was on YouTube. That was where we came up. That was the platform where we grew our largest following and ongoing viewership. And when things were great, we really felt like we were on top of the world. At the peak, we were getting hundreds of thousands of views per video. And this was, the peak for us was right around our pregnancy journey, that people were so excited and interested in our journey as new parents and having our first kid and a lot of those kind of early life milestones when you're a vlogger. And there was so much excitement around that time. And it was very easy to be lulled into this sense that this is always going to continue. I remember one month, we got essentially our AdSense earnings statement, and it was $25,000 just for 1 month. And I'll never forget this. I don't know why. April and I, she was like, we were in Forever 21. We were at like the mall, and I like pulled up the email, and I was like, that was like the most we'd ever made by far in a month, just on like AdSense. And I showed it to her, and we're like hugged, and we were like, holy cow. It was just like, it was a total surreal moment. And we'd had other months that were like pretty good, but nowhere near that. And, and so it would be easy to think like, oh man, this is just like untapped potential. It's always going to be like this. Right. The sad truth of it is that definitely that was the peak. That was definitely the peak for us. And we wouldn't have known it at the time, but that was the peak. And so, what happened over the subsequent years, months and years, was that, our views just steadily, started to decline. People showed less interest in what we were talking about, in the kind of family vlogger sphere, which was our niche. It's heavily driven by life milestones, right? Pregnancies, buying a house, or getting married, buying a house, having multiple kids, this type of thing. And then when you get to a point in your life, where what you're sharing on the internet is no longer novel, I guess, where it's kind of mundane. It's the day-to-day routine. There's no drama really, you're a normal family basically, and you're not manufacturing drama, which definitely some creators do, in that vertical. People just lose interest. They move on to things that are more dramatic. It's just kind of human nature, that people seek out novelty. And so the views just kind of kept going down and down and down. And so of course I'm so thankful that we had, as a family, as a couple, had the foresight to explore other revenue streams, given that things were changing, right? We expanded our presence on other social media platforms. I started my influencer marketing agency. And so we were actively kind of pursuing other channels, because other revenue streams, because we knew we could kind of see the writing on the wall. And so I say all this because I think it's very easy when things are going right to think it's going to go on forever. It's like a one-hit wonder band. It's like you do really well. Maybe you have one like breakout album and you do make a ton of money, and then you blow it all, right? You buy a big house, you buy a fancy car, you do all the things. And then when the winds start to shift, when the currents start to shift, it can be a really, really scary prospect. And so I just want to temper this conversation with this anecdote, because this happened to us, right? Like what worked for us back in the day is completely different from what is working now. And so I think part of being a creator and understand, if you do want to do this full time, understanding that the number one most important characteristic that you need to strengthen is your resilience. Understanding and being comfortable with the fact that things are going to change. In fact, I was just on a podcast with another creator earlier today, and he mentioned that he had a blog. He started a blog in 2010. It's Colin from the podcast host. Shout out to Colin. And he said that his primary revenue stream back then was affiliate marketing, and he built those up to a certain point where he was making thousands of dollars per month on some of those affiliate programs, and then overnight they would shut the affiliate program down. Right, it's this whole idea of like building on rented land, and it's like or building someone else's book of business, and you really don't have control over what decisions that they make. And so I thought that was an interesting anecdote. It's just because I think it's really true. You especially if you're building on the social media platforms, you're anything other than like selling your own products directly, essentially to your audience. Those all carry risk, right? And so I think that's the second point that I wanted to talk about, is that you have to figure out your own personal risk profile when you're thinking about quitting your job, because, let's be real, like there is an advantage to going to your 9 to 5, you come home at the end of the day, you clock out or whatever. And if you have a job that allows it, you can kind of just shut off. You could I don't know if any of you have seen Severance on Apple TV, but I always think about this, the whole premise of the show was that there was like an implantation that you could put into your brain so that when you go to work, all you think about is work. You don't remember anything about your personal life. And then when you're in your personal life, you don't know what was going on in your work. It was a really interesting premise for a show. Can't wait for season 2, by the way. carrying that example, it's like, to some degree you can kind of shut off and not think about your job when you're at home. And that reality just does not, that dynamic just really doesn't exist when you're a creator. And so there's a lot of advantages to the steady paycheck that comes. Oftentimes there's health benefits that comes with having a 9 to 5. And so the certainty of knowing that you're going to have a certain level of income every single month, and it comes in every single month, it hits your bank account on the same, day or every 2 weeks or whatever. And knowing that whatever your expenses are, as long as you're, budgeting properly, you're gonna be okay, right? You're gonna be able to pay for those bills. But when you're a creator, you don't oftentimes have that certainty. You're making different amounts of money each month, and for a lot of creators, I don't think that they quite realize when they first quit, like how stressful that can be. One of the things I talk about as a sponsorship coach is, if you're able to design an intentional sponsorship strategy, that actually can become a consistent income for you. Like, when I forge partnerships for my own business, Creator Wizard, they're multi-month partnerships, right? Minimum 3 months, oftentimes, where there's a lot of reasons why I designed that in my business. And to be fair, like I've definitely gotten to a place in my business where I'm able to mandate that. Essentially, it's not even a mandate; it's just like a best practice, right? It's one of the things I talk about my Brand Deal Wizard program, which is also beneficial for the brand in terms of the repeated exposure to my audience and et cetera, et cetera. But the thing that I think is just important to understand is that you really do have to understand what is your risk profile. If you are someone who would be really stressed out by that, not knowing what your income is going to be every single month, like you really might, or you just know that about your personality. You tend to be more of an anxious person. You tend to get stressed out about things. You tend to catastrophize and think about the worst case possible thing that could ever happen. If you're that type of person, it's only going to be amplified when you quit your job. Okay. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Nakota Fishing says, these live streams are the highlight of the week. You are the sponsorship GOAT. Wow. Thank you so much, man. I can't see. It seems like you put an emoji on YouTube. It says goat turquoise white horns. So there's a goat in the YouTube chat. I can't see it here, but appreciate that, man. We've got Ioannis Glinavos tuning in on LinkedIn. Good to see you here. We've got California Ivy. We've got Jen Jackson. What's up, Jen? Good to see you here. An alumni of Brand Deal Wizard tuning in. Brian from Detroit. It's the Kellys. Good to see you here, Brian. And the in-between says, YouTubing since 2016 on multiple channels, ready to start reaching out for sponsors. Exciting stuff. Love to see it here. Cal Barton, another alumni of Brand Deal Wizard. I love to see all the alumni tuning in the chat. That makes me so hyped. I just love it. Okay, so, but today, for those of you who are just tuning in, we're talking about why, you need to be careful about quitting your job to be a creator without doing a few things first. So we've talked about, understanding that what's working now might not work forever. We've talked about how you have to understand and figure out your personal risk profile. The next thing I want to talk about is that how critical it is to understand that when your hobby becomes your job, your relationship with it will change. I think this dynamic happens a lot for people who start out side hustling, right? They have some sort of passion, and maybe they started creating content as an escape from their 9 to 5, or there's an escape from their normal job. And so there's no pressure on it. It's just like it becomes the thing that you run to, the bastion of positivity, because you're able, it's the escape, right? From the humdrum, the mundane, the things that are taxing on you mentally, the things that are stressful. And so I think there's this pie in the sky aspiration that people have, that like, man, if I could just spend all day long doing my quilting or my DIY upcycling of thrifted stuff, or I could spend all day just doing this thing, then my life's going to be great. I'm always going to be happy. It's like an analogy I can give is like, when you go to a tropical destination or Hawaii or like some whatever, right? And you think like, how can I live here? Like, what could I do? I'm guilty of that. Like my happy place is Kauai, the island in Hawaii. In fact, I'm going back this summer. It's my favorite place in the whole world. And I literally talked to my wife, like, man, what could we do? We're like geographically independent. Like maybe we could move there. What could we do? We could get some real estate. We could, and then we start talking about it, and it's like all the logistics, and it's like, is that really going to work? We're moving away from family. It's like all these things, right? But it's like, there's something about part of the reason I think that people get so excited about wanting to live in like a tropical destination is the feeling that you have that because you're not working, you've been extracted from your normal life and you are transported into this place and this time where everything is fun. It's like you're not working, you're doing cool things, you're eating fun food, you're doing, you're just like making memories, right? And so that's the feeling that you remember. And so you hold on to that and you're like, it's always, if I moved there, my whole life would be like that. And there's been so many examples of people who have actually ended up doing that, have actually moved to the place or done the thing. And then that just becomes the normal life, right? It's like, you have to have a job there. You have to do something, right? Unless you're a trust fund kid or something, right? You have to do something. And so whatever your environment is becomes the norm. And so I think that same analogy carries through to like quitting your 9-to-5 job to be a creator and pursue the passion, the hobby, that it's going to become a job. If you're deriving an income from that, it's going to become a job. My wife, April, has actually shared this before that, one of her biggest passions, her biggest hobbies, has always been baking, cooking and baking. She loves it. She's done it since she was a kid. She like took home ec twice she was in high school. She just loved it. And so she had started her beauty channel first. Then we started a vlog channel. And then it seemed only natural, like, hey, I'm going to start a cooking channel. That seems like a good idea where I can do my baking. I can film myself doing all this stuff too. And she started getting sponsorships on there. And somewhere along the way, it was like this imperceptible transition. I don't really know exactly when this happened, but doing the cooking, doing the baking it started feeling like a job because she was making money from it, right? And so as a result, there was a time period where she just really didn't feel drawn to do that anymore. And it was not to put words in her mouth, but I think it was a source of pain, for her. And so, I'm happy to say that she's really kind of found her groove again recently and has really started enjoying doing that again. But this is real. This is reality. This happens when you turn your hobby into a job. Your relationship with it is going to change, and you have to be prepared for that. Captain Collins says, if you make your hobby a job, it will be a job, a good one, but still a job. That's exactly, I think that is 100% true. Sarah Dawn says, yep, I made my hobby my job and it took a huge mindset shift, to make it work. I don't regret it, but because I still enjoy it, but it wasn't easy. 100%. Thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable, Sarah. Cause it's like, I think from the outside looking in, there's especially from your audience or followers or something like that, there's this perception that like, what you do is not a job. You just like post content on the internet, and they really don't see the behind the scenes of it. They don't see the work required. They don't see a lot of the planning and the strategy that's required to actually make your hobby a job, right? And so people can be kind of short-sighted about that. But always important. We've got Lori Lee 07 saying, always love both your and April's content as it feels so genuine. Thank you, Lori Lee. That really means a lot to me. Thank you. And Sheetal says, finally caught a live from you again. Thank you for sharing your amazing advice. Of course, Sheetal, good to see you here again. All right. A few more things I want to chat about before we dive into the Q&A. And on the topic of, not quitting your job to be a creator until you're prepared. It's the idea, it's the reality that people will try to dissuade you from doing this, and they might actually be right. Let me qualify that. When you are at the height of your excitement and the height of your optimism about something, about quitting, let's say, I think it's human nature to sometimes kind of gloss over the realities of the situation. It's one thing to be bountifully optimistic about your future prospects, especially if things are going really well. But as we've just discussed, things can change pretty quickly. And so This may come from friends. This may come from family members who are, encouraging you to like, no, don't quit the stable job, like, the consistent income. Like, let's make sure we have a plan here. Like, are you sure you really want to do that? And the tendency is to just tune them out. Oh, they don't get it. They don't understand. There's so much potential here. It may be true, but the reality is that in certain instances, especially if you do not have a solid track record of stable income to back it up. I mean, like I can definitely share that there have been, people in my life who, when I shared something exciting with them, I got a little annoyed because it felt like they were kind of putting a wet blanket on my optimism. And I was just like, no, this is going to be fine. It's going to work out. This actually happened recently for something. And about a year later, the thing that they had kind of voiced, I didn't end up pursuing that. And the thing that they had voiced as like a concern of what could happen actually came true. And so I think it's just like things change really quickly. And even at this, kind of late stage in our creator journey, even we are humbled sometimes to realize that like not everything that we want to accomplish, it might not be the right time for it at that time. And so by the same token, of course, though, is that they might also be wrong, right? And too short-sighted because, I've never really believed that the traditional reason that people say that you shouldn't quit your like 9-to-5 stable job is because it's stable. That's usually the reason they give. Oh, the health benefits and the stability and all that stuff. And the argument that I always made was that I actually feel like a 9-to-5 job is inherently more risky than being a creator. If you can have a diversified income, because, when you have a 9-to-5 job, yeah, you're getting the same amount of money each month. But when the macroeconomic conditions change, things change in the market for your employer, they will not think twice about downsizing and letting you go. It doesn't matter how many long nights you've put in. It doesn't matter how much you've sucked up to your superiors or your colleagues. They will fire you in an instant. You are a line item to them for the vast majority of employers. And so your only revenue stream goes to zero. It goes from 100 to 0 overnight. However, when you're a creator, and if you can build up this, side hustle income stream while you still have your 9-to-5 job, and you can build up multiple revenue streams, the likelihood of all of those revenue streams going to 0 overnight is basically like very improbable, right? Maybe unless you get canceled or something, or demonetized or whatever. But again, hopefully that's only one channel in your business. And so like for a YouTuber, for example, just as a quick anecdote, it's very likely, unless you get demonetized, that your views will just go to 0 with your AdSense. It's much more likely that you will start seeing a gradual decline, and you say, okay, month over month over month over the last 3-4 months, this is a downward trend now. Maybe it's time to start investigating some other opportunities, some other income streams for me. And so you have a lot longer of a runway to try to, investigate different opportunities that you could, or different things that you could add to your business to insulate yourself from some of that uncertainty. Is this making sense? Let me know in the chat here. Give me like a mind blown emojis. Give me like a praise hands guy, the money tongue guy, maybe the thinking guy or gal. What do we think here? Is this resonating here? Because if there's anything that I hope these live streams or this conversation could do for you is like maybe just have you be a bit more thoughtful about this thing that this ambition that you might have to be a full-time creator. I want to talk about one more thing before we move on to the Q&A, and that's when to actually do it. Because, I think a lot of times we have we pick a date. We're like, I want to quit by this date for some reason. Maybe it's like my birthday, or maybe it's like right before the busy season, right? When like things get really, really busy for me. And so I want to make sure I can like concentrate 100% on this effort, like being a full-time creator prior to that happening or something, right? And the challenge, first of all, I do think the principle about working backwards and trying to, figure out, okay, when would I actually need to start planning and saving and figuring all this out? I love that philosophy of like working backwards. However, the concern that I have about just picking a date and really not being smart about, sorry, let me snooze this alarm. The challenge about picking a date and not truly thinking backwards is that if you do not have data to, like, at least, in my opinion, at least 6 months of data showing you the average income that you're making with some margin of error, if you do not have the certainty and the predictability in knowing that, who's to say that your income might not go to zero the month after you quit? What I see sometimes happens is that a creator will get a really lucrative brand deal. Maybe it's $10, $20, $30,000 or something, which is like, seems great. And that seems in their head like, oh man, that's like 4, 5, 6 months of expenses for me. I'm just going to quit and I'll just like figure it out after, that. Try to, hopefully I can weather that. And they don't have any sort of other plan. They don't have any other kind of predictable income going on. The challenge with that is like, what if that 30K deal that you got, it was a fluke, and that may never happen again, And so what I always encourage people to do is like, figure out what that date is and then add 6 months to it, because basically what's going to, and so, I mean, I'll just be real. Like, this is what I did before I quit, is that I made a personal commitment, or a personal like milestone for me, that I wanted to make an incremental. I wanted to replace my salary when I was making 6 figures in medical devices. I wanted to completely replace that plus 10K a month. So essentially replacing that 100K plus an additional 10K, right, for annually, right? So that I knew that when I quit, I would still be able to maintain the same lifestyle, and there was a buffer, an additional kind of 10K a month buffer in case something happened. And so I took the date that I wanted to quit and I basically added 6 months to it. And so then I had the data to say, okay, yeah, this month it went up a little bit. This month it went down. This month was not really good at all, but then the next month's caught up. And so it gave you a feeling, a little bit more certainty that, okay, I can definitely weather this. I can make this work. See, I don't know about you, but at least for the stage of life that we were at, we were not willing to go back and just like live off of ramen like that. We didn't, that was not like, we were just about to have a kid, our very first kid. And so if anything, we wanted our quality of life to go up, not down. Right. And so we were very intentional about designing those financial goals for ourselves to actually make that happen. And so again, it goes back to this whole thing we were talking about the risk profile. It's like, you have to figure out what that is for yourself. I can't tell you what that is for anyone. And of course it depends on the life milestone that you're at. But I think that this reality of like this, all the obligation, I think a lot of people associate kind of like influencers, creators with like, oh, really young people like dancing on TikTok, or like they're in their early 20s where they really don't have many obligations. They don't have a mortgage. They're not married. They don't have kids, whatever. But I don't know, at least in the circles that I run in, a lot of those people have big obligations. They have mortgages, they have families, they have kids, they have all these things. And they can't just be super flippant, or they can't be dismissive of the realities of those obligations. And so if they do want to, quit their quote unquote traditional job, they have to be more mindful and plan this stuff out in advance. Is this resonating? We've got Kellyanne from Freedom in a Budget tuning in on Instagram. We've got Texas DIY Mama. We've got Rhea Pivo. Good to see you here, Rhea. We've got Matthew W. Vibes Corner tuning in on TikTok. We've got Kadagia Ararat. Good to see you here. I'm going to take a swig. Real quickly, make sure to drop in the chat some questions that you've got around being a creator, quitting your full-time job, side hustling, sponsorships, negotiations. Let me know. Let me take a swig. Yeah, Meyer Graves says, wait, medical affairs? Yeah, I was in medical devices, actually. I was a product manager at a medical devices company. That was what I did for the first like many years of my career. So yeah, very, very opposite to maybe what I'm doing right now. Before we dive into the Q&A, I did want to take a quick moment to acknowledge today's sponsor, which is Lulu. They're an ongoing, speaking of ongoing sponsors, they've been sponsoring me for many months. And they are, there's honestly so many reasons why becoming a published author with Lulu can bring you benefits as a creator. I'm going to real quickly share my screen here so you can see what Lulu is all about. Boom. And so of all the things, there's a bunch of different reasons, right? It's to increase your profits. Real quick, note that I'm really excited about is I got my very first pre-order of my forthcoming book, Sponsor Magnet, yesterday. I actually really haven't announced it yet. I'm announcing it now, I guess, which is that you can now pre-order my book. So if anyone wants to pre-order it, DM me, and you'll get access to a special virtual launch party when the book launches. But yeah, increase your profits, establishing your authority and your credibility in your industry. You could see here, there's all these different things that you can do. You can diversify your revenue streams. You can land new business opportunities like speaking engagements. I'm giving a keynote at CEX in a few weeks here in Cleveland, which I'm really excited about. You can reach a global audience. You can leave a print legacy. I think a lot about legacy these days of what are the things that I'm going to be leaving behind, for future generations, for my children, things like that, in terms of not just for my children, but something to be proud of. Wow, it was actually funny. I was talking with my son recently and I was telling him the fact that I'm writing a book. He's like, "You're going to be an author? You're going to have a book?" And he was like, "That's cool." And I was like, I don't know. It was like a cool moment for me. It's like, I don't know. It feels somehow different than making YouTube videos or something. That's kind of maybe humdrum or something. But also selling a book directly from your website. And so with Lulu, creating a book is easy and it's free. So not only is it all in your control, but it's a great way to earn extra income. I've talked a bit about how my plans for getting my book Sponsor Magnet sponsored. How meta is that? But that's one of the things that I'm going to do is because I'm self-publishing through Lulu, I have a lot more control over what I want to do with my book versus a traditional publishing route. And so I'm going to be going after creator economy companies who I say, "Hey, would you like to, in kind of this vertical, would you like to sponsor, have a ConvertKit edition, let's say, or a Lulu edition, or a circle edition of my book of Sponsor Magnet, where maybe the foreword is written by the CEO of that company, or maybe the foreword is written by me, where I talk about how I use email marketing, for example, or how I use my community to grow my business, make more money, this type of thing." And so imagine having a little badge with the brand's logo on the cover, and they can hand it out at their conferences. It's me getting, there's so many benefits, right? It's obviously they're going to have to pay me for that privilege to be this exclusive sponsor in that vertical, in that niche. But then also they're going to want to distribute this to their customers. So maybe I'm going to be able to get in front of a new audience that I wouldn't otherwise be able to access. Right. And so I don't know. I'm really excited about doing certain things like that. And I think that just a book will take you further faster. It really kind of legitimizes you in your field. And so, Lulu's print-on-demand e-commerce allows you to keep 100% of your revenue, retain all of your customers' data, which is so critical because then, if you can serve them with a book, maybe you can serve them with other things, coaching, courses, etc. You can get access to your funds immediately. You never have to worry about inventory. You can customize with kind of white label fulfillment, which is super cool. And they have a global print network so you can reach your fans worldwide. So why wait? You can join the millions of satisfied creators and authors who have already published with Lulu and take your writing career to the next level today. So make sure to click the link in the description of this video, and Bianca might be in the chat here dropping the link as well. We actually have Jason says, "I launched a book on Lulu years ago." And he said Lulu was, Jason said the book wasn't good, but Lulu was easy to work with. I bet it was great, Jason. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that testimonial, man. So yeah, anyways, if you want to take a look at Lulu, make sure to click the link in the description box and give it a try and tell them that we sent you. You can create your free account today. All right. So let's dive into the Q&A. Let's see what we got here. All right. The very first question that I see here is from John Willis. What's up, John? Good to see you here, man. John Willis says, "I have a roadmap to launch a product in the summer with a view to go all in after the launch because it's taking up a lot of my time, as well as having kids, etc., 2 kids, etc. Obviously, I need to be flexible with leaving my job depending on how the launch goes. Any advice?" The first question I probably have for you would be related to the launch strategy. Namely, are you pre-selling it? Are you doing a pre-launch and actually asking people to pay for it now? They're probably going to get some sort of launch incentive for pre-ordering it from you. But I think that's like a really important question, is like somewhat de-risking this whole launch, where you don't create something in a vacuum that people don't really want, if that makes sense. And so if you did have that cushion of knowing like, wow, people paid me X amount of dollars for this, I have this like pile of money sitting here, knowing that this is something that people actually want, I would feel a lot more comfortable, potentially making that decision. The other thing to remember too is that there definitely is a dynamic where there's a lot of excitement around the launch of something, and then interest kind of peters out. And so it's not just the launch that you need to consider, but also what is the ongoing marketing strategy or the ongoing lead generation strategy, so that you're going to be generating sales and customers all the time. I think that's going back to this whole thing we were talking about around novelty, is that there is novelty when things launch, when something's new. There's a lot of excitement about it, people joining and things like that. But then when you don't have anything new to talk about, because you've already launched the thing 6 months ago, you do have to be actually a really good book to read about this topic is called Key Person of Influence. And this is by Daniel Priestley, which is one of my favorite authors. And he talks about the different types of marketing like events that you need to hold on an ongoing basis. So you have there's a difference between a campaign, which is something that you maybe run every month or every 2 weeks or something like that. And then you have more kind of tent pole type events. Maybe you do these quarterly, and then maybe there's a big annual initiative, like a virtual conference or a summit or something like this. And so the whole point is you're doing things regularly to consistently, stay on people's radars essentially. And this is something that honestly I'm just starting to do in my business. You've probably seen that I launched this thing called the 7-Day Pitch Challenge. And this was one of those efforts of having something that we could do a little bit more regularly. Obviously I have my Brand Deal Wizard course, but that's been out in the market now about 3 years, and it's still going great. People are joining all the time. But what is the thing that I can be doing on more of an ongoing basis? Maybe every month I'm launching I'm not committing to that. But maybe one day, maybe it's not just me doing it anymore, because I'm somewhat limited on my bandwidth to do stuff like this. But maybe it's someone on my team who's helping with that or whatever, right? But it's thinking about this kind of ongoing strategy, I think is critical. And so without knowing much about that, oh, John says in the chat, no, I'm not, but that's genius. And yeah, I mean, that would be the things that I would thinking about is what things can I do now to de-risk this? Because that any moves anything that I could do to get a signal early that people really do want this thing would give me more confidence to make plans to quit my job. So hopefully that's helpful, dude. Amiteshwar Man on X says, I'd recommend the book called Guerrilla Marketing. It speaks to these points too. 100%. That sounds like a great book. I feel like I might have read that. But I don't know. I don't know if I did. We got my boo, April Athena 7, tuning in on Instagram. What's up, baby? Good to see you here. You want to come over here and say hello? She's in the other room. But good to see you here, baby. Delilah asked, where do I pre-order Sponsor Magnet? And why don't I just drop it? Okay. Boom. I just dropped the chat. So for those of you who are on YouTube and I guess Twitch, we'll see that link, but it's just creatorwizard.com/sponsor magnet. I got the pre-order set up. So Delilah, you can grab it there. All right, let's see. What other questions do you have around sponsorships and brand deals? Hold on a second here. Let's get some applause and cha-ching for Cycle Travel Overload. Oh, hey, baby. We got April. Let's give a high five. Cycle Travel Overlord says, about to land my second big brand deal.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Come sit with me, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, come here. I'm going to close this so the cats don't run.
You mean the kids?
The cats or the kids. Our kids are homesick today.
Both our kids are home. They're sick, so I'm home just on the couch with them.
Yeah. So what questions do you got? We got an April cameo here today.
Hi, John. How are you?
Let's see here. Let's see here. There was a question that I missed up here. There was a question a lot earlier up here. Hold on. Why did I feel like I missed a question a lot earlier in the live
I was
stream?
DoorDashing ingredients to make mango sticky rice.
You were? Oh man, that sounds delicious. I can't find it. I missed it.
Delilah, how are you, my love? Hi, California Ivy. The kids are sick. California Ivy and the cats are also sick. Sunrise, I mean, he has cancer. Charlie has asthma, and Mr. Bob has allergies. So all three of our cats are sick too. What advice can you give as a wife of a creator so I can pass it to my wife?
I should probably give the advice as a husband of a creator first, but
yeah, that's funny
Yeah.
because I started as a creator first, and Justin was like behind the scenes. He was more the business, and even what he talks about now is more business. But as a wife of a creator, be supportive, because if your partner isn't supportive of your dreams and passion, regardless if it's being a creator or a singer, musician, anything, like if your partner is not supportive, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna work. You know what I
tell
mean?
them the video that we filmed.
Oh yeah, we
recently.
filmed the video, but I don't know if Justin released it yet.
I haven't released it yet, but
Yeah.
it's called the video. The video is going to be called "Why Influencers Divorce."
Ooh, the tea is
It's gonna be piping tea, guys, and we're gonna talk about this because there's a lot of reasons that this happens, and it's not really a tea video. It's just more us talking about what we think are some of the reasons that this happens, and what we've done to kind of overcome that and strengthen our relationship. I think because there's a very special it's a very special scrutiny that couples on the internet go through. People who are both creators go through that it's hard to describe for others. Yeah.
Oh, Delilah, the babies are going to be fine. Jacob just has allergies, but we kept him home because his cough was pretty bad. But he had an appointment, like a virtual one with the doctor a while ago. And then Liam, I don't know. He just got a bloody nose, honey. We just cleaned it up. Jacob even cleaned up the blood on the floor. How sweet is he, right? He's like,
really?
Mommy, Liam got blood on the floor from his bloody nose. Okay, I saw a question from Just One More Project. What would you suggest if you already have a deal but want to renegotiate terms down the road? The last, like what Justin likes to do is like the last email sent, like after everything is sent, like he'll say like, oh, please keep us, you know, in your, I don't know how to say it. Consider us for next time.
Yeah, so it's like what I teach is like once you get to the end of the deal, that's when you pitch the next deal, basically. But you're asking about renegotiating. I think that's what it is. Is like, so you're asking maybe you accepted a smaller rate initially. And now you want to make more money, like on a future deal. Maybe that's the question. And if that's the question, what I typically say is that you have to pitch them something different than what you did last time. So you can't say, hey, I think it's only fair that you pay me more money, which is what a lot of creators do. And they're like, nah, we're good. Like, just take it or leave it kind of thing. Instead, you have to say, I can do that, but here's these other things I can do in addition to that. Maybe it's offering paid usage rights and allowing to use your content for paid advertising, or there's a lot of things I talk about, but that's usually a good tactic.
Ooh, hi, my cousin Rosie. Hustling Mama is over here. Oh, I wanted to answer a question. John Willis says, since both of them are creators, who gets the office? Well, my guy, since both of you guys are creators, you guys both get the office. You guys have to share the office. When I was the YouTuber, pretty much like the main like talent, pretty much, I got the office. I got the filming room because it was April Athena 7 that made the money, you know what I'm saying? So the office was mine. The filming room was mine. Everything, like, you know, and then when Justin decided he wanted to do Trending Family and Creator Wizard, And I moved on to not doing like makeup videos as much anymore. I didn't need an office, and I betted on him. And I'm like, you can have the office space. We turned the guest bedroom into a real office for him, and I never looked back. And I was like, it's all about you now, and you can have the office. And the whole house is literally my office. Like, that's where I like to be. I like to stay in the kitchen. That's my office. And if I do work, I work on my laptop. I work on the bed. I work on the couch. I work on the dining room table. I don't care. But Justin's office needs to be more like, legit. And so we turned this room into the office, and we did Amazon Live here. And but if you guys are both creators, y'all need your own space in your own little corner. Y'all can't be fighting over that. Like, no one is better than the other. Both of y'all make money. Both of y'all support each other. So, yeah.
Thank you for betting on me. Can I get
this? No.
Why not?
Because we're on camera. We don't need to be making out on camera. And also, did you get my boba? I don't believe I got a boba.
What? Oh, I said we could order it. Did you schedule it like I told you?
No, I'm messing with Justin. I'm messing with him. Let's see. Have you noticed? Yeah, drink your water before you get sick like the kids. Have you noticed a decline in sponsorships or the amount creators are getting paid now compared to a few years ago? Jen Jackson. I think with me, for a while, I noticed a decline in sponsorships because it was my fault. I actually was crying to Justin yesterday, telling him, like, it was literally my fault. When my mom passed away, I lost motivation and I stopped creating content regularly, and my career tanked. Like, I felt like I failed myself, and I failed the family, and I failed everyone because I couldn't physically, emotionally, mentally film even the most basic stuff. I couldn't do it anymore when my mom died. Like, it changed me. I wasn't a hustler anymore. Like, there were months when I was making six figures, like, to be honest. Like, I was making a lot of money, and money didn't make me happy. So I was like, you know what for? Money did not make me happy, so I'm gonna scale it down, and I'm gonna just like focus on my mental health. And Justin took over. And I think that's like the best thing I ever did for myself. But also, now that I want to be more productive and busier and go back to like really working, it went down. My sponsorship opportunities went down, but that's because I wasn't consistent. So consistency is very important. But you can't help it when you go through stuff. People don't, when they lose a loved one, they get to take time off work. But did I? I didn't get to. So I chose to. So I'm so sorry, John. I'm so sorry. Grandmothers are so special. I'm so sorry, my sweet friend. Grandmothers are special. But you know what? Like, even if you get less sponsorship opportunities, just keep going, and the right ones will find you. Like, we got a really amazing one recently, and I thought that it was over for me. I was like, oh, my YouTube channel's not doing as well. I still got a travel opportunity, all expense paid. Like, I still get amazing sponsorship opportunities. They're not paying me like hecka like they used to on my YouTube channel. I was able to charge like 20-something thousand on YouTube sponsorships. I don't have that anymore on my YouTube, but I still have that on Instagram maybe sometimes. I'm not trying to like tell you, but like, yeah, it still happens because sometimes they're not looking to pay you based on your followers, like Justin taught you. It's based on your experience, who you are, what you're about, what your vibe is, I guess. I'm so different from Justin. I don't talk like technical like Justin or like,
No, you're real.
I'm real. But like they care more about who you are as a person. Like, if they're looking for like Asian mom vlogger in the Bay Area who likes to clean baby, that'd be me.
Can I say something about what you were talking about when your mom passed away? This actually, I think, relates to kind of what we're talking about today, which is like, that's another hard thing about being a creator, a full-time creator, is that you don't get a day off. Like, if you, at a job, you could like theoretically take leave, and when you're a creator and you're self-sufficient, you're a business owner, you're self-employed, it's kind of like the show must go on. And there's a special pressure that comes with that, that is real, you know, and or if you're just like not feeling it, you're just like feeling not driven, or you're feeling like I've been in honestly, I've been in a slump the last couple of days. I've been feeling a little burnt out. I've been feeling, I don't know. It's just like you go through these phases as a creator. You're not feeling super creative. You're not, it's like not a, I don't know. And so it's like, but it's like the show must go on. Like, you know, you got to keep showing up and you know, I've committed to doing 4 times a week on my newsletter, or three, you know, broadcasts a week. And so it's like the show must go on. Oh, another newsletter. Got to figure out what I'm going to say, you know, but it's like, I've committed to y'all. I'm doing this and I'm showing up. And I think it's just like, it's just a unique thing about being a creator, I think.
Can I turn? How do I turn it off? I press
Oh
the
yeah,
pause.
it'll go off automatically.
Oh, did you hear that? I clapped for Justin.
Thanks.
There was something I was gonna say. I don't know. I forgot.
Yeah, there was another question, I think.
Oh yeah, so grieving. Yeah, grieving is hard. It changes you as a person. I'm not the hustler anymore. But I think it was one of the best things I ever did for myself was to grieve and to give myself time and to not. I didn't want to be an influencer for a few years. I really didn't. Like, I wanted to just hide, and I think that's why I chose to be an Amazon live streamer, and I succeeded at that. I killed it.
You really did.
Amazon Live, I was killing it. I killed that thing. I was doing so well on Amazon Live because I said, I don't want to be public for a while. My heart is broken. My mom is gone. There's nothing for me anymore. And so doing Amazon Live was the best thing I ever did. But now I want to do everything. And it's like starting over again because I was missing for so long. So we'll see. Come join me on my journey, April Athena 7, because I'm shameless about it. On our vlogs, April Justin TV. Bye.
Love you, honey.
Love you.
Thanks for the cameo. Do I get a kiss now?
No. Why are you so thirsty?
I'll come and get one later. Love you.
Love you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love when April shows up because she brings definitely a different vibe to these live streams, don't you think? Let me dive back into to Instagram because I feel like I missed stuff. Oh, Rosie Hustling Mama says, the way I ran to my computer when I heard April's voice. Wow. So you weren't at your computer listening to me? I'm totally insulted, Rosie. How dare you? Okay. I see how it is. I see. Okay. All right. I'm just joking, by the way. Let's see. What other questions we got here? The in-between. Oh, yeah, Jen, you know, I did want to add just like another quick addition to your question around like the decline in sponsorships. Yeah, like I 100%, you know, think that there's been probably a 10 to 15% slippage year over year in sponsorships across pretty much every vertical. Some verticals more like 25%, you know, like in gaming, political commentary, comedy, some of those niches. So, you know, most of the niches that are, I would say, a little bit more brand friendly or kind of family friendly haven't been hit nearly as hard, where it's more kind of consumer focused, you know, food, travel, hospitality. A lot of like travel and hospitality has seen a lot of growth because of just like recovery from COVID and all that stuff too. But yeah, there's definitely been slippage. And so this is another really good example of like what we're talking about the need to inject consistency, predictability into whatever you're doing as a creator, whether it's sponsorships, whether it's affiliate income, whether it's directly monetizing, your expertise by selling things directly to your audience. In fact, one of the things that I'm going to be talking about in my keynote at CEX in a couple of weeks is something that I call audience first offers. It's what I call your PSA, your products, your sponsors, and your alliances, which is kind of your trifecta of how you can best serve your audience to help them accomplish the transformation that will make it very easy for basically for you to sell or promote stuff and be thanked for it instead of people getting mad at you. And so I think that this third bucket around alliances is something that a lot of people don't think about, which is like, are there friends or other peers in the industry that you think are great that have some sort of product or service or coaching or something that you could get their offer in front of your audience as an affiliate, essentially, because you know that it'll help them? There's this scarcity mindset that I think is very pervasive in the creator sphere, in the creator ecosystem, that Why would I, like, let's say you sell something, you have a course or you have ebooks or whatever. Why would I want to like talk about brands to my audience? Or why would I want to talk about someone else's program to my audience? Because then they'll have less money to buy my thing, right? And in my mind, that's you have to flip that on its head. Your goal is not to make money as for yourself. Your goal is to serve your audience. And so if you can figure out like what are the best ways in which you can serve your audience, maybe it's a brand's products or services. Maybe it's, this other person over here who has maybe it's not an exact, like, of course, if it's a direct competitor, to your, whatever you're selling, that's not something. But what if there's like something that's a little bit orthogonal or something that's kind of parallel to what you offer, and you're never going to offer that thing. You're never going to do coaching for that, or you're never going to create a piece of software for that. You better go get that in front of your audience, because again, it's about helping them. It's audience first. And so I think this mindset of abundance is really important, because understanding what are the various ways. Let's say that there is a slippage in sponsorships in your niche, Jen. This would be the time, I think, to start thinking about not only, well, first of all, like from a sponsorship perspective, I know you're a Brand Deal Wizard alumni, so like a big part of this is like maybe you need to increase your top of funnel outreach, knowing that there's going to be, as you carry through your pitching and your nurturing, it just may require more outreach to start getting more conversations started. But short of sponsorships, like there's these other pockets, these other areas that you might be able to explore to try to insulate yourself from some of this unpredictability. Is that helpful? All right. Yeah, Rosie is laughing in the chat. K Rich Productions just joined. Can't wait to go back and watch the whole VOD. Absolutely, K Rich. Good to see you here, man. Let's see here. Angry Owl Outdoors has a question here. Hey, Justin, how do you respond to companies or get a starting point when they will not budge and give you their tiers of investment after asking them? This is a great question. And what Angry Owl Outdoors is mentioning is that this advice that I give around how you ask about what a brand's budget feasibility is. You don't say, hey, what's your budget? You say, hey, I'm going to put a proposal together for you with 3 to 4 different tiers. Do you have a sense of where I should set those 3 to 4 tiers from a budget feasibility perspective? This is kind of the sentence that I give people that I advise people say. And my experience is that in about 70 to 75% of cases, they will tell you a range. They'll be like 1, 2, 3K, or like 3, 4, 5K, or 5, 10, 15K or something, right? And that's great to have that information, because it helps orient the structure of your proposal, right? But then the question that Angry Owl Outdoors is bringing up is like, okay, what about those remaining 25% of instances where they stonewall you? They will not say anything. And the advice that I give in those scenarios is you have to pick your hell yeah number for package number 1. And so you're still putting together packages for them, but because you don't have any sort of insights into their budget ranges, you have to ensure, and this is very unscientific, and I understand this, you have to ensure that if they choose to move forward with package 1, which is, going to be probably the lowest investment, that you have to feel stoked about that. Hell yeah, let's do this. I can't wait. I'm so glad that they picked package 1. That should be your attitude, rather than like, oh man, they picked package 1. Now I got to do this. Because the last thing that you want to do is resent the fact that you're working with this brand now, because then you're just going to insert this kind of animosity into the very outset of the relationship. It just makes no sense. And so even if the number that you put for package 1, you think that is probably not a way that they're going to go for this. This is a trap that a lot of creators fall into, is they think the brand tells them, okay, they send their initial numbers and the brand says, okay, well, we don't have that. We have this instead, like half the budget or a fourth of the budget. Can you do that? Right? Can you do package 1 for that? And then creators are like, okay, it's like, 'cause it's money, right? And I get it. I understand it's money. But then they resent it. They resent the brand. They resent the fact that they accepted it. They resent the whole thing. And so my approach is like, okay, it's just a better strategy for your mental health overall to just like set the package at a place that that you'll be excited if they pick that. Sometimes I think creators are their own worst enemy. They put a number in front of a brand and the brand says, okay, we can do that. And then they are like mad about the fact that the brand, well, yeah, but they accepted it, but they should have paid me more. Like they should have picked package 3, blah, blah, blah. And so that's really kind of how it's like, you got to pick your hell yeah number for those instances. And again, I understand it's not scientific, but But this definitely a very important thing to keep in mind when you're putting these packages in front of brands. Angry Al Outdoor says, which, by the way, using your recommended initial response is gold and has landed me some great deals and upped one by 400% just by following your coaching. Can I get a hell yeah here? Holy cow. Hold on. I'm just going to take a screen. Can I take a screenshot of that one? Cause this is always dope. Okay, here we go. Look at that. I always do. I like doing my faces. I take a screenshot and then I post it on Twitter, Instagram or something. And I'm just right. I'm very outrageous like that, but stoked to hear it, man. Hell yeah. Let's get some golf claps in the chat, or maybe not even golf claps, some raucous applause. My goodness. I'm so proud of you. One question here. One Who Seeks says, can you talk about affiliates versus sponsorships? Well, okay, let me do this. I'm totally going off script here. But this is a reason that you should be reading my book, Sponsor Magnet, that you should be pre-ordering my book, Sponsor Magnet. You want to know why? It's because I have a whole section on this in my book, and I'm going to drop the pre-order link there again, totally shamelessly. And how about I do this? How about I read you an excerpt from my book about this topic? Would you enjoy that? I'm not done with it, with this section yet, but I feel like we should probably talk about this. What do you guys think of that? Okay. Should I just read it? Is this weird that I'm just going to start reading my manuscript? All right, let's just do it. I'm having fun here. Okay. So this section is called Structure the Sponsorship Using the Smartest Compensation Scheme. Affiliate, hybrid, or flat. Brands will almost always prefer to pay you on an affiliate basis. I mean, why wouldn't they? If they only have to pay a 20% commission when you generate a sale, that's the dream scenario for them. And even though some affiliate relationships can be lucrative, they often trivialize the work required for you to generate the content containing the promotion, right? Further, haven't you spent years building trust with your audience? Is it fair for you to expend social capital while the brand gets a free endorsement? No, it's not. At the end of the day, affiliate marketing allows brands to commoditize you, shouldn't be your primary focus, takes a really long time to become meaningful, and can be an awesome cherry on top of your other revenue streams. Now, it's one thing to put your foot in the ground and say, no more affiliate deals for me. But it's an entirely different thing for brands to actually listen. Many simply won't budge from an affiliate model. In that scenario, try pivoting to hybrid compensation, which includes an upfront base fee plus a kicker on the back end. Oh, I have to do this thing for TikTok. It thinks I'm not here anymore. Example, a brand offers you a 20% recurring commission on their niche B2B SaaS software as a service. They claim that their top affiliates earn $10,000 a month. Let's do some simple math. If their average customer is paying $200 a month for the software, you'll get $40 recurring commission from each signup. To make $10,000 a month, you'll have to generate 250 signups. To generate 250 paying signups, you'll likely need to drive 10x the amount of traffic to that brand's offer, since only a fraction of your audience will be interested. Depending on your reach, you might need to do a ton of promotion to achieve that. Meanwhile, the brand is happy to have an army of evangelists loudly championing them for free. I don't know about you, but that seems like a raw deal. Instead, counter with a hybrid deal of something like $5,000 upfront one time plus 10% recurring commission. You can explain that as part of the partnership, you will also grant them usage rights to the content that you generate for a limited duration to run paid advertising, something that their current affiliates almost certainly don't provide. Even though this represents just over 50% of 1 month of potential affiliate income, you're receiving guaranteed compensation for your testimonial, you're de-risking your time investment, and you're making the brand question their current strategy and helping them understand why you're different. When structured well, hybrid deals can actually make you a ton of money if you have extreme confidence through your psychographic research, which is something I talk about in an earlier chapter, that your audience will go bananas for a brand's product or service. I'm gonna leave it there. Kind of a cliffhanger. I wasn't planning on reading an excerpt from my book, but you asked about it. The entire book is chock full of gold like that. How are we feeling? Are we excited about the book, guys? Was this whetting your palate at all about what's to come? Drop it in the chat if you're excited for Sponsor Magnet. Come on, give me like a magnet. Anyone got a magnet here? Maybe a book the book emoji. Give me something here. Give me some validation because I'm feeling a little nervous that I shared this here. But yeah, let me know. Let me know in the chat. I'm gonna take a swig here. There we go. Yes, I'm loving to see it here. I love it. Katricia Rose with the claps and the magnets. Jenny Lou says, love the reading. When will the audiobook come out? Well, let's talk about a little behind the scenes here, the book launch. I'm probably not going to be coming out with the audiobook right away. Probably just the ebook and the hardcover book initially, because having the audiobook release, let's say 3 months later, is another thing for me to talk about to keep interest alive about the book. Remember how we were talking about earlier about John was wanting to launch something? So this is something that I learned from April Dunford, who when she launched her book, was that she didn't release the audiobook right away. And then 2 months later, 3 months later, it's a whole nother reason to start talking about the book again. Guess what? It's a whole new launch event. The audiobook is released. I'm going to start releasing audiograms of it on Instagram, me doing the narration, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So there's all these, a book it's a product. It's something that there's a concerted effort that you can make around the launch of it. And so these are the types of things that I'm going to be doing, when I roll out the book. But then that's just one of them. Listening to audiobooks is my preferred method. I mainly listen to books versus read them. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be 3 months or however long, but it's going to be another moment. It's going to be, I'm not going to have all the formats available on the initial launch. All right, guys, we're over time here. I don't know what happened here. I'm just having so much fun reading the excerpt of Brandy Wizard. And by the way, real quickly, I'm just going to do one more link in here for you. Okay. I just dropped, I have not shared this very widely, but if you want to be a beta reader for Sponsor Magnet, I am soon going to be pushing out V2 of the book to my beta readers. And I just dropped the link in the chat here if you want to be a beta reader. So you can sign up for free. And if you want to, the only thing I ask in exchange is that you have to give me your feedback. And so if you're good with that exchange of value, click the link there and sign up. And then, you can also kind of indicate how much mess you want to deal with. Like if you just want it right away, or you want it maybe in a couple months when it's a little bit more solid, or you just pre-launch you want it, or maybe just when the book comes out, that's fine too. And you can indicate it on there through a little survey that I have there. So anyways, thank you so much, each and every one of you, for showing up each week. It always means so much to me. And I will see you next week. I'll see you next week on the live stream, y'all.